Hello and good evening, everyone. This is episode 440 of the Drunk Nerds podcast. We are back. I am your host for this week, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. Joining me all the way from Iowa, Ginger Boy, Tyler Courtney. How you doing, Ginger Boy?
I'm doing all right, man. Uh, it's good to be back. The boys are back. The boys are back. The boys are back. But it feels good to be back, man. It's been almost 2 weeks now, week and a half for us. Since we recorded last, we did the whole marathon
Oh yeah.
we recorded 4 different nights and 4 times in 5 nights. Uh, Utterly exhausting. So
Yeah.
I was looking forward to having Saturday off, and then Saturday night came, and I was kind of like bummed that we weren't recording. It's like, it's funny. It's like, oh man, like I kind of, like after Tuesday, after last Tuesday, after E3 was over, I'm like, oh, thank God. It's just, I need a break from
Yep.
just. It's that post E3 thing where I don't want to, I don't give a fuck about video game news. I don't even listen to. I just take a break from video game podcasts, reading Twitter about stuff. I just needed like a week away from everything. I missed recording, but it's like I didn't want to do anything with like video game news anymore. It happens to me every year where it's just like I need a break, but just too much in a short amount of time. But no, it's good to be back, man. Missed bullshit with you. Uh,
Yeah.
we were actually going to start recording like a couple hours ago, and then Gables
Oh.
you had some crazy shit happen to you.
Oh yes, of course. To put things into perspective, listeners, I live in the Pacific Northwest. And the Pacific Northwest isn't known for a couple things. And one of the things it's not known for is heat waves. So apparently, for the first time on record for a very long time, the Pacific Northwest is going through heat waves that are inside the 90s to potentially middle 100s. That is what is on our forecast. Apparently, in Seattle, it's going to be as high as 109. This is basic from news broadcasts that I've been reading online. But
Fake news.
let's just say nobody around here is ready for that type of weather. I sure as hell wasn't. And the past
No.
couple of days has been really something in and of itself. Last time I experienced weather of this sort was back in California. Of course, California is known for that type of dry heat, that type of like scorching dry heat. But here in the Pacific Northwest, normally we have like a moderate summer. Sometimes we even have Indian summers, so they last all the way inside of like September, sometimes into October in that regards. But the warmest times we would have is possibly inside of the early 80s. Sometimes we'll have like 70s and this and that, like moderate type of weather. It's just
Sounds
this
fantastic.
this year for some reason wants to spike up in the area. But yeah, that was part of the reason why that we had to delay the recording for at least a couple of hours because a transformer blew pretty close to where I live. So I had to wait like about a good solid hour, make sure the folks are all right, make sure everyone else is not running around on fire outside. It was just lovely.
German Taco's doing good, so that's that. Most importantly, he's okay.
Yes, of course. Of course, he was having a fun time as well, just darting around the house like, oh, what's going on? What's going on? It's dark. It's dark. No, no, no. But the little guy, he's hopefully tucked nicely away and sleeping. But other than that, though, yeah, work stuff, same as usual. Weather stuff, hot as hell. But
Seems.
most importantly of all, Tyler, I have been playing video games.
I've
Hell
been
of a
playing
lot.
video games.
Exactly. Both of us have a commonality this week, is that meaning we've been playing a buttload of video games. After E3, after the freaking initial exhaustion of all the news going forth and everything else, it's like I signed up for Game Pass. Now I'm gonna get that thing monthly as opposed to like doing like $45 every 3 months. Downloaded a whole bunch of games released this year. The Switch, the last couple paychecks and stuff, I've actually invested, try to get some eShop games and stuff. So I actually have a fair amount of current games, whether it be indie or actual retail, that I've been playing. First time in a long time where I feel current with a lot of the different things.
So I do want to like you mentioned Game Pass, and there's something I was thinking about the last couple weeks, and I don't know why, it just popped in my head, where it seems like whenever we make a title of a podcast, it just
Yeah.
becomes law.
Oh yeah.
Where at the going back a month ago when I was re-uploading all the podcasts one by one on our new feed, it gave me a lot of flashbacks. And it was kind of funny seeing these titles. I'm like, where the fuck did that like? Where did that joke in this podcast make that title? How did we get to there? So, and I talked about it like a little while back about we were joking around about this like earlier this year, like January, February, we were
Yeah.
joking around about how Reggie probably has Reggie Fils-Aimé probably has Mother 3 right now, and then like 2 months later he tweets that he has Mother 3 in his backlog on Wii U.
Oh
It is
my
obviously a
god.
joke tweet, kind of fucking with people, and I was just like, I'm like, we made the joke, there it is, and then it just kicked in my head that in late December, it was when we were doing the Game of the Year stuff. So the last week of
Yeah.
December, we were joking around about Metroid Prime, and so as a joke title, I called it Metroid Prime 4 confirmed. Six
Oh
months later,
no.
6 months later, they announced Metroid Prime 4 is now in development. Obviously, it's been announced that was 4 years ago since they announced that. 4 years ago, as of E3 last week, but it's now in development. So when we make titles for shit, it comes true. So Gables, you said
Yes.
you have Game Pass now. I
Yeah.
made a title in February called Play Haven. Guess what's
Oh
on
no.
fucking Game Pass, buddy? Haven.
Haven. Oh my god.
You gotta play Haven. I'm sorry. It's I don't make the rules. I just make the titles that then therefore become the rules. So that's where we're at. I don't know.
Well, it's definitely going to be on the list of things for me to try out. I mean, hell, I got plenty of time, got plenty of things I can go through, and like I stated before, I did finish it quite a bit. So, that being said, let's just address the elephant in the room right now. Let's just go ahead and address what we have been
You've
playing.
already
And
played
Tyler,
Haven.
I am going to go ahead and let you go first because apparently I'm getting called out. So I'm going to go ahead and let you start.
Okay. Gables has walked away, so now I can just do where the fuck I want, and he won't have any idea. He'll just think I'm talking about what I've been playing, and I'm not right now. But I do just want to point out real fast that we are currently streaming this on Twitch. If you're watching right now, we appreciate it so much. If you are listening to us, we appreciate that as well. Because every time you guys click the audio version or download us or listen to us or stream us or whatever, we make a little bit of money. So we really appreciate it. Not a lot. It's literally like pennies for every download we get. But hey, we'll take it. Instead of paying every month, we get paid a little bit. So we appreciate that. Um, yeah. So, and thanks to our sponsor Anchor for doing that for us. But yeah, if you are watching us live, we appreciate it. But if you want to watch us live, we record every Saturday night. Usually it's around 8:30 Pacific time Saturday nights. Obviously it's a little later. It's like 9:40. It's like 9:15 right now Pacific time. But obviously because Gable's power went out, we are recording later. We were actually gonna we already decided we were gonna record tomorrow, and then it came on a lot earlier. Than the power came back a lot earlier, so that's awesome. But anyways, if you want to watch the live version, just check us out twitch.tv/DrunkNerds podcast. Or if you want to watch the video version of it, I always post it immediately afterwards on our YouTube channel, Drunk-Nerds. So look us up over there. Subscribe, follow, click the bells on both of those. That way you know when we go live or a new video is posted. But yeah, other than that, um, I do want to mention. I was telling Gables before his power went out when we were on Skype the first time because we were on Skype talking when his power went out. Um, that I got GameFly. If you guys remember that, for people that don't know, I don't know if it's available all around the world or not, but it's basically like old school Netflix where you had like DVDs delivered to your door, and then you send it back and they say a new one. I used to have it a lot during like the 360 PS3 era, and that's how I played a lot of my games. Was I'd get it for like 2-3 months at a time, a couple times a year. I'd get it and then get it for a couple months and get rid of it for 6 months because it's not it's not really super expensive, but it's not cheap either. It's like at the time it was like $20 or so a month for 2 games at a time. The downside is it takes like a week from the time you return the game to possibly get the next game. So I got that. They sent me a thing out of nowhere saying I can get 1 month for $1. So I signed up for that. So I do have Returnal and I do have New Replicant. I just got those today. I haven't got a chance to play much of those, so I got those. I was just telling them. Telling them about GameFly. I haven't got, but now I'm gonna get to what I've been playing because I've been playing, like Gables. I've been playing Game Pass a lot. You just kind of go through that phase where it's like I think a lot of gamers go through this where it's just like you just want to play something on a certain console or you want to play this type like you're just feeling this type of game. Like you just want to play this type of genre, like every now and again I'm just craving like a good Call of Duty game, like a good Michael Bay type game where it just blows explosions and shit. And I've just the last couple weeks I've just been in like a huge like I got a 3 months with when I bought my Xbox Series S, so I still have that for like probably another 6 weeks or so. Then yeah, I'll be right there with you with the $15 a month thing. But I've been playing a plethora of stuff. I just jumped back into Wolfenstein New Order, which is the Machine Games, the reboot of the series. Um, I'm on chapter 4 of that. Just played that for a couple hours. Still holds up. I mean, obviously it looks older, but with the FPS boost stuff, it really helps out. Like I was talking a couple weeks ago, I beat Halo 4. That game looks amazing on now. Like it doesn't look like a top notch, PS5, Xbox Series X game, but it looks like a really good like mid to late last gen game, and that's an Xbox 360 game from 2012. But yeah, like it looks nice. It doesn't, it's not like the gameplay is a lot slower from Wolfenstein 2, but I've been playing that. I beat it already before, but I'm just feeling like after the disappointment of no Wolfenstein 3 at Xbox's E3, I just kind of was wanting to play some Wolfenstein again. I jumped into Sea of Thieves. Played with a couple people. Played with Dave and Mike from the Talk Ship group last Saturday for a few hours. I never played it before. Jumped into it. And it's like I've heard a lot of positive things the last couple of years as they did some patches and updates. And I was really wanting to check out the Pirates of the Caribbean update. I haven't got a chance to jump into that. This just came out, I think, a couple days ago. But we played that, and no idea what I'm doing. We really didn't have any idea, but it's definitely a game you need to play with other people, like because you gotta like someone's gotta like steer the ship, someone else has gotta like steer it with the sails and like keep an eye out. Someone's gotta look at the map. It's like it really you need like you could probably get by with two, but like you really want like 3 or 4 people, and like I think 4 is the max. Um, did that? It's just it's just a fun dumb game. Like I don't think it's like I would definitely want to play it again with some people, get some group people together and jump into it every so often. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. You all have like musical instruments. You have a bunch of them. Like you have a drum, like a banjo, and a couple other things. And like you can like fish. I caught a fish, which was cool. Um, but like one of the fun things we did is like you can just like you can go like a bar and like they just keep filling up your cup. And we were like drinking, and like eventually you just like you drink so much. Like the drunk physics in this game is like super realistic. It's like you're just like I was trying to walk to the boat, and I was on the dock, and I was just like walking, and I was just like, oh my god, and I just fell into the water. Like that's how like drunk I got my character, and like you start vomiting, and you can like projectile vomit onto the other people in your crew, and then like their screen's just covered in like green goo, and they can't see. And then like you start playing like music. You could pick like 8 or 9 different songs to play. But if you're drunk, you start playing like it just sounds like shit. And I was like, hey guys, you ever heard the song Wonderwall? And I started fucking just playing the banjo. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was definitely a good time. We got some booty, which is always nice. I've been playing NBA 2K. I've been playing the My Career stuff. Um, I That game is definitely built for you paying real money to upgrade your character because it is very.
What a shame.
I built a. I was ranting to Gables. I was ranting so hard about how frustrated I was with like how slow it is developing your character that I took the power out in his entire city. That's how upset I was about it because I was mid rant and the power went out in his entire town. Um, but yeah, I can't make a wide open fucking shot for the life of me. Doesn't matter what I do. Layups, fucking 3 pointers, no one around me for miles can't make a fuck shot. Even though like I've focused everything on being a shooter, I can't do it. But I'm still playing. I've been just playing that, but it's just Very. I want to play more of it, but I don't want to pay more. I don't want to pay money. Rocket League got back into that. They
Oh,
added
really?
like Fast and Furious 9, Fast 9 came out yesterday. So they had like
Yeah.
some like new stuff come out for it. So every time I score a goal and you see the replay of the goal, it plays the Tokyo Drift song. It's like Fast and Furious. And so I got really hooked into that. I've sunk a bunch of time. I've been actually playing it on my Series S because it's free to play now. So I've been playing it on there mostly just because like I platinum it. I platinum the game on PS5,
Yep.
or PS4, and I just been playing. So I went over to Xbox Series S just because it has cross progression and all that, which is really nice. So I've been doing that and getting achievements. Really is the main reason why I'm doing that. And then the two things I've been playing that I really want to touch upon is I beat Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Um,
Nice.
yeah, I beat that. It took me like probably I want to say around the 8 to 10 hour mark. There was definitely a lot more stuff to do. I did a good chunk of the side quests that I found. I didn't find it. I found I don't know, probably 30%. I think I was like my final save was around 75% or so, give or take, for like everything. Um, but beat that, and it's getting great reviews. I've seen a lot of like 8.5s, 9.5 kind of range, and it's like I totally get that, and I it just I beat it and I enjoyed it, but it didn't click for me like that.
Really?
Where it's like, yeah, it's like I love 2016's Ratchet and Clank. But that was my first introduction to the series. Like I never played one before. I was a Nintendo kid when those games were coming out in the PS2 era, so I just never got around to them. Um, but yeah, I enjoyed it. Like there's definitely I enjoyed the characters a lot. I think the going between rifts and the dimensions and um was is really cool, and like it's a beautiful looking game. It's gorgeous. Like that game tricked me multiple times where I did not realize I was supposed to be playing the game. Like it's just the seamless form from like a cutscene to like you're playing the game now. Um, it's top notch. Like Last of Us Part Two did it to me like once or twice, but this game did it to me pretty much every time a cutscene ended. I'm like, oh fuck, I'm playing. Like it's just like my characters be standing there for 3 seconds. I'm like, what the fuck? Oh shit, I'm playing. Okay. Um, but yeah, I don't know. There's nothing like I don't have like a technical reason why. Maybe it's just I don't like I'm not. But this seemed like a game that I really like, and I really like the game. Like I enjoy. I beat the game, but I enjoyed it quite a bit. But like I didn't like ever fall in love with it like I thought I would. And that's kind of like I thought this would
Hmm.
be like coming out of it like a lot of reviews like this is the game of the year, or this is a lot of people's the game of the year so far, or this is one or 1A kind of area. And I was like that's totally going into it. That's where I expected even before the reviews coming out. That's where I'm like this is gonna be like one of these games that's gonna be my top five easily, probably my top two or three right now. And I just came out of it like I enjoyed it. It might it I mean it's in my top 10, but I don't even have a there's been enough games that come out this year to have a top 10 list though, so it's whatever.
Yeah.
But if it's it'll probably be in the bottom half of my top 10 this year. I liked it a lot. I knew every time I played it, like I didn't feel like it wasn't that like I can't put this down ever. And like whenever like I wasn't playing, I didn't have that urge to go back to play it. But I mean, I obviously enough to go back to keep playing it, but I didn't have that like I wasn't as soon as I got off work turning it on and fucking playing it until bedtime or anything like that. Like I didn't have that. Like I'd go a couple days at a time without playing it. But like I said, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. I still like the game a lot. It just did not click with me in the way that I thought it would. But I
Okay.
totally understand like where a lot of people are coming from. Like this, like it, there is. I have no reason why I don't like it that much, just other than like it's just maybe not my type of game as much as I thought it would be, even though I thought it would be. And then the other game I beat is Final Fantasy VII Remake Intermission, which is
Okay.
what they had the Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, which is the PS5 version of it. They had the free if you had a PS4 version, you get the free upgrade to PS5, which I bought it last year digitally. And then they had this $20 DLC Intermission that came out with it, and it's kind of the opposite where like with Ratchet, where I thought that'd be a game of the year contender, and like this, I was like, okay, it's gonna be a couple hour little thing, and I'm gonna beat it, and I'll be done with it. And this is way more than I thought this would be. Like there is a lot of content in this $20 add-on, and it's way like it's not just reusing assets.
Hmm.
It's like whole new areas. Like, no, I should say
Whoa.
whole new areas. There's new sections. There's different areas. There's different, totally different boss fights. There's different brand new characters introduced in this that are like more than likely, not more than likely, will tie into Final Fantasy VII Remake 2. Like I don't understand. Like it's Intermission, but I don't understand like how it's gonna work where you don't play through this without like playing two without going to the final. It's so stupid. Final Fantasy VII Remake 2 without playing this. Like I feel like it's this is like a must play if you are interested in playing the next one. This is gonna be something to play, and it's I think it's
Okay.
blew me away. It's fantastic. It takes a little bit to get going. Like the first like hour is kind of a just introducing you to Yuffie, this new character, which from what I understand she's a side character in the game in the original game. Like you don't even have like you could play the game without ever adding her to your party. And like they built this whole DLC around her, and like it runs concurrently with
Okay.
Seven remake. So like you definitely need to play the original, the remake before you play Intermission. Um, because it does spoil things that happen in that main game. But it is utterly fantastic. It took a little bit to get like because there's not really the downside is there's not really a tutorial to like remind you how to play the game. So it took a little bit to figure out like remember the combat mechanics and how all that works. But like once I got there and then learning how to play with Yuffie, like she's totally different from anybody else from the main game. It takes a little bit, but it's fucking. Like, you only have like instead of having three characters and you can jump between them and play as them whenever you want in the main game.
Right.
This one you only get one new character, Sonnen, and you can't play as him. You can still like tell him when to use special attacks or use items, but you can't ever control him. And one thing they did is like it's called like I think it's called like it's synergy. I think is what it's called, where
Okay.
you can like basically you hit L2 and then he'll do whatever you're doing. So he'll mirror whatever Yuffie's doing and his type of attack thing. And then like you can like synchronize like whenever you use like a special ability from Yuffie, you can synchronize with him, and you'll make your attack stronger, do more damage, which is really cool. But it also the downside is it kind of makes him more. He's not as protected, so he won't guard. He's just kind of more open for attacks when you do that. So you gotta kind of pick your spots to do it. Yeah, I was blown away how much like it took me about 6 hours to finish this, and I did some of the side quests. They had this whole like I think it's called Fort Condor, which is like this mini. I think it's in like the original game. It's like this tabletop RTS game, and you can go around and like fight, play against other people. You basically it's like RTS tabletop game against other people on the map, and there's like you can become the grandmaster if you beat everybody. I beat like 4 or 5 people. I don't know how many people there are to beat. Um, that game was in itself was a lot of fun. And then there's a decent amount of side content to do. Like it doesn't feel like a cheaply like most DLC is disappointing. It's like
Right.
just like feels like shit they just took out of the main game to like charge you more on later, or it's like the Doom Eternal shit. When I heard about that, was just disappointing. It's like really just like really hard mission. Like it's just like a reuse assets and just but a more difficult version of using that, or it's like it's combat mode or it's challenges or whatever. And this is like feels like a full on like not a full on other game here, but like you could probably beat the main story in like 4.5 5 hours. But I mean, you could probably put 10 or 15 hours into it of all the side quests and all the other stuff you can do. And like
Oh wow. Like a
I
full on
beat
like
this.
standalone game, sort of like a like would you say it's more or less like a Miles Morales to like a Spider-Man?
I would say less than that because I mean you do. I mean there's definitely some new areas, but
Okay.
like a good chunk of the game is going through areas you've been through again. Like I don't
Okay.
want to like it's nowhere near like a Lost Legacy or a Miles Morales, but I'd say it's like maybe like a third of that, like you know or so. So like the $20 price tag on this is definitely is really good, like really good for what I expected. Like I said, I was going in. It's gonna be a couple hour thing. You're just gonna go through shit you've already like through areas you've already been before. And, like it's
Right.
basically like Lion King 1.5, and I was kind of expecting that quality of it where it's like kind of a half-assed that we're just kind of trying to get some more money out of you. You have a fucking landline? Wow.
I don't know why, and I don't know why they decide to call like around 9:30 at night, but
That's funny.
uh,
It's
I'll
just
let you
funny.
finish.
All right, you're fine. But that's just I haven't heard that noise in so long. Uh, but yeah. So, anyways, I beat it. It took me. I beat it all today actually, in two
Oh
sittings.
yeah.
I could not stop playing it. I adore this. I love it. It's like it's two chapters where I think the main game had like 16 or 17 chapters. I think maybe give or take,
Yeah.
and each chapter like in the main game was like 2-3 hours. And for side stuff longer. But and that's kind of where this is too. And that where Alex said I was blown away. I love this. Like this is like I said, Ratchet Clank I thought would be a game of the year contender for me. I don't know if this is like my game of the year right now. If I had to make a list in my head, but it'll probably be in my top. This will for sure be in my top 10.
Oh, good,
This
good.
little expansion at the end of the year. Like I fucking loved it. It made me miss. Like I just wanted to play Final Fantasy 7 remake again now. So that's everything I'm playing this week. A lot of shit, but the main two things: Ratchet and Clank and Intermission. What about you, Gables?
All right, so they're definitely, like I said it before, plethora of stuff I have been playing. So I'm gonna go quickly in regards to the ones that I have been somewhat playing. So on Game Pass, I've been playing somewhat of like MLB 11, MLB 21, the show. All right, it's fine. It's baseball. It's the fix that I've been looking for like a baseball game. I tried out a couple of other games. Let's see. Genesis Noir, I believe that game is called. It's like an indie game. It's on Xbox Game Pass and stuff. It's sort of like a point and click almost. It's really weird. The concept of the stuff is sort of like a noir black and white sort of game and stuff. With sort of like a emphasis upon like a point and click adventure, but the way the stylized game is presented alongside the gameplay and of itself, it's definitely fascinating in terms of the creativity that went into exploration of the story elements of this game. But I'm still fairly early on inside the game. I only spent like maybe about a good solid hour playing it in all. And I know there were other games that I've played on Game Pass, but oh yeah, there briefly I played a little bit of this title called Narita Boy. Now, this one is more or less styled sort of like a linear kind of 2D game to where it's basically like a hack and slash. You earn certain like weapon upgrades or whatever type of things throughout this game and stuff. It's sort of like a it's not doesn't have any type of RPG elements. It's like a standard action game that you have to go and do backtracking and this and that. But so far it's all right. It really doesn't had too much of like impact on me yet. But let's see other games. I did play a little bit of Forza Horizon 3 on my 1S. Game's still fun. I mean, I love just burning a lot of like shit in regards to just the roads, the little missions, and all that other stuff. Just casually going through that. But the main meat and potatoes here has actually been my Nintendo Switch. So before I even get to the Nintendo Switch stuff, I did play a bit of Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown, that free to play game that was released on PSN. So I played through the arcade mode a couple of times. It's quintessentially like a bare bones Virtua Fighter 5 kind of experience to where you have the arcade mode, you have online mode and stuff, and there's really nothing else like more extra in that regards. So it felt kind of stripped down in comparison to say a Tekken 6 or a Soul Calibur 6, no, Tekken 7 or Soul Calibur 6 or even Street Fighter 5 in that regards, to where it's just bare, okay, here are the fighters, here's this engine and stuff from Virtual Fighter 5 that people know and apparently has been remastered or whatsoever. So I played through that. I enjoyed what it was, but it didn't really retain my attention too much. But after I finished that, I decided, okay, let's power on my Switch and see what I want to go through and play. So I did buy a couple of games digitally on my Switch. One of them is called Blue Fire. The other one is called Kaze and the Wild Masks. So Blue Fire is more or less like a action game and similar like explorational type of things. It kind of reminds me of a Zelda-like game, Legend of Zelda-like game, because you have exploration stuff. You can actually go through and accomplish a couple of different missions. It looks pretty cool, and has sort of a similar type of combat things. Only there's no like Z targeting or anything else for the action stuff. So it's like a 3D platform in that regards. Kaze and the Wild Masks is more like a Donkey Kong Country like type of game. It looks good. The sprite work and everything else feels like that. Feels very well quality. It feels like that there's a lot of work and effort that's put into the creative, like artistry of the style in of itself. I know that game is available on platforms like Xbox Marketplace, PlayStation Network, and stuff. They ask for about 25, but I think like $30 for this game. The quality of itself is nice, but I picked it up on sale for like about 20 some, so it's like a quintessentially like $10 off. It's every bit I
Nice.
felt worth the price of admission because you're getting a quality platformer. It is fun to play. It's definitely good to pick up and stuff and enjoy a couple of levels here and there. And one thing that I've noticed that I haven't done for a while in like a platformer, 2D platformer type of things, I actually wanted to replay certain levels, get the collectibles, and actually do a time trial run through the levels, which I know the gameplay has me a little bit more hooked than I thought. But for other games, there is this indie game that I've had on my Switch for a while called The Adventures of Elena Temple, which quintessentially it wasn't too like expensive or something to buy back in the day, but it's quintessentially like a 2D sort of like platformer thing. It takes you about maybe about an hour or so to beat, but it basically you could change it to look either like an Amiga game or a Game Boy game or like an NES stuff. Yeah, it has like different type of graphical sort of like changes you can make for it. Like every time you play through the game or something, you can play in a different type of mode. It looks different and this and that. I thought that was pretty cool. The platforming can be at times cumbersome because they want you to go and do precise sort of jumps on certain pixels and stuff on edges and stuff. But I know another game that I've had on my Switch for a while, The Bridge. I actually did
Oh,
play through that puzzle game, The Bridge.
is that the limbo like one?
Yeah, it's sort of limbo-like in regards to the whole
You have like an
kind of
umbrella or
like
something, don't
a
you?
some like kind of like a somber sort of esque type of thing, but it's more like methodical than that because it's kind of like a point perspective of completing certain puzzles that are inside of like your cognitive mind or something. There's a lot of like illusion puzzles that keep going with that stuff. But when it comes to the game in of itself, I thought the puzzles were fairly all right. There was actually a lot of like moments where I had this kind of aha moment to where, oh, okay, this is how I'm going to solve this puzzle this way, or this is how I'm going to do it that way. But for the last couple inside that game on the last stage or something, I had to look up some guides because it was not coming to me very quick. But it was also another one of those games where you could finish it in like in a couple of hours or something like that. I tried a little bit of this thing called like Robonauts and stuff, which was like another one of those cheap games that I picked up on the Switch.
Oh, I've heard of that one. Okay.
That one's not too bad, honestly. The combat in of itself is pretty fun. Going through those levels, the progressively, it gets a little bit harder each time. I'm like a little over halfway through that game, but at the same time, I had to put it down because it was starting to become a little bit more like, yeah, it was starting to become a little bit more like difficult down the road and that stuff. But I did try a little bit of Virtual Console stuff. Joe and Mac, that SNES game that released on that, I actually played through the entirety of that. You know what? There wasn't really too much to complete about that game. I just did my basic run all the way, like from beginning to end and stuff. I was able to go through the entire game and beat it within the span of a sitting, because the game doesn't really last that long.
Wait,
And
is that the Japanese one
no,
that just came out?
no,
Oh
no,
no.
no, it's not the Japanese one that just came out. This
Okay.
one was released in America as well by Data East. The Super Nintendo version is a bit different than say like the Sega Genesis, and especially the arcade one. It's This one's kind of an odd one out, to where
Okay.
the quality over the years people didn't like it as good as some of the other like ones. But yeah, I played it through. It was good and like nostalgia type of like a kick. But I could switch through different types of weapons, this and that. Let's see. In regards to other virtual console stuff, Super Mario World, I decided to play that once again. I completed the entire game.
Jesus.
Dude, I went through every single level, collected every single like dragon coin that I could, went through all the Star World, all this other stuff. I haven't done that since I was like about 5 years old as a kid. It was definitely some nostalgia things working into effect. But let me tell you about something. The one game that I have been playing off and on for years, but never had a chance really to sit down because my interest lacked it. I sit down and I played and I beat the original Legend of Zelda.
Nice.
I had enough patience to explore lots of things discovering, lots of things I discovered about it. And there's a lot of various little troll moments as well. Oh, little dog is just, crying a little bit in his cage. Yeah. What's the matter, little guy? You get a little too hot. All of a sudden, I start talking about Legend of Zelda, and he just wants out of his cage. Well, like I was saying, over the years, I only maybe completed a couple of dungeons in the original Legend of Zelda. This time around, I felt like I just wanted to play through the game. And so I went through the first couple of dungeons, two or three, before I realized, hey, I need to collect the weapons inside those dungeons before I move on. So I had to re-go through the dungeons, do this and do that. Then end up finding out that in order for me to go to the fourth dungeon, I have to use the raft in a specific place, and then in order to get up to there, to the fourth dungeon, the bosses and everything else, they were fine. There was like maybe a couple that were real pains in the asses. Like there's this one that's called Gleok or some. It's like a two-headed dragon, right? And basically, in regards to like this little dragon, once you defeat one of his heads, it floats and stuff. Like it just attacks you while you have to attack the other one and stuff. It's kind of weird, but yeah, it was kind of fairly difficult at first. But one of the difficult things about it is figuring out that I had to do resource gathering before I initially went on to some of the later dungeons because of the fact that I was getting my ass handed to me because I still had the original tunic and everything else. I had to buy the blue ring that would actually decrease my damage received by half. And I'm like, you know what? I could have done that from the start and actually saved myself a lot of trouble, especially
Made it a lot
going through.
easier.
It would have made it a lot easier for myself. Because without that, you go through like Dungeon 5, and you have to face off against these Wizrobes, and they're fucking taking out like about, I kid you not, they took out like most of my health in like one single blast. And so having these save states really helped out a lot. But, oh my gosh. I finally got through collected a lot of the weapons and everything else in this. Like, what was really hilarious is I got the bow and arrow, right? And I thought to myself, you know what? I don't see like the little thing that ticks down. It's like how many of these I can use before I run out. Until I realized after I used it for a while, it's like I noticed I don't have any money. And I check my rupee count. It goes and drains the rupees that
Oh
you
shit.
collect. The money is ammo for your bow and arrow. I'm like, what the fuck? Those little caveats there. What was really funny was once I got past a lot of those various dungeons, the last one, the one before Ganon, actually not the one before Ganon, but just Death Mountain in general. I collected all the various ones that I had to collect, then going through Ganon's like last remaining castle. Now before then and stuff, you have all of these like dungeons you can explore and stuff from the get-go. There are like at least two or three of them that are hidden. Like one, you actually have to use the whistle you collect to warp into like one dungeon, and then for one, you actually have to use the whistle again in a specific lake. It'll drain the lake, and you go down the stupid like stairs in order to access it. So these are obscure things that you possibly may be able to like see or read or something like that from an NPC. But the last one, no, the last one kind of pissed me off a little bit though was the last dungeon before you face off against Ganon. It's a bush that you have to burn, and there's a staircase, and you have to go down in order to get, dungeon 7 done. But the final dungeon with Ganon in it is a huge fucking like slog. It made it easier for me because in the previous dungeon, you collect something called the Lion's Key. And what the Lion's Key basically is, it unlocks any door in the game. So you don't have to collect the small keys. Never knew why they never introduced this item again in future Zelda games after this. But yes, it was very nice having to skip through rooms of like wall masters and freaking whiz robes and like all these like dark nut like creatures. Basically, there's a knight that's either in yellow or a blue dark nut. And yeah, they're just knights called dark nuts, man. And they take so many hits in order to try to take them out. Because at this point, I already got the most powerful sword, like the magical sword. So it's like the sword tier is like the original sword, then the white sword that you get from like some other place, then you have to collect the magical sword after a certain extent. But facing off against Ganon was actually a lot more easier than I thought. The thing is, when you start the battle, you hold up the Triforce pieces that you collect. He appears on the map. He zooms around, and he's like invisible, right? And he's shooting fighter balls at you. And so basically, you have to wail like crazy in a specific like spots, like where he appears. And after about 3 hits, he stops. He glows like brown or something like that, or like he's in a stunned phase or something. And you have to use the silver arrows and stuff in order to kill him inside 1 hit. So the final battle in that regards to the Legend of Zelda, it definitely was sort of anticlimactic, but I could have totally seen myself back in the day, like if this game like released, if I lived during the initial release of the Legend of Zelda, I could see myself actually forgetting to collect the silver arrows in a previous like part of that dungeon, because that's what you need. You have to have the red ring and the silver arrows from that same dungeon before you have to beat Ganon, before you have to face off against him. Because if you don't have the silver arrows, you cannot defeat him. And so you would have to backtrack all the way past in order to try to get this stuff like done. But let me tell you something. It was such an accomplishment having to finish the original Legend of Zelda. I went through it. I collected all those items, like redundant items, like say collecting a letter or something from an old man to give to an old woman so I can actually like buy potions and stuff from her, or get the stupid blue candle or something that only works like once per screen or something, burning one bush, and then it later gets replaced by a red candle, which automatically gets replaced with this fucking wand with an upgrade, so I can shoot fire from the fucking wand. It was so redundant in terms of extra items that were put there, because not even like 10 minutes after I got the red candle, I got an upgrade to the wand that allows me to shoot fire, and it's like, oh, well, you know what? I have to use this now because this makes more sense than this one. And yeah, boomerang, magical boomerang stuff, bow and arrows, like, yeah, the weapon move set and everything else was fine and stuff. It was just kind of funny having to experiment with a lot of that stuff. But I'll tell you, what was actually pretty funny as well is I was doing a little bit of experimenting with burning bushes inside The Legend of Zelda, and there was this one staircase I found, and I go down the staircase, and there's this old man that's like, "Hey, pay me back for the freaking like roof that you just burned." And, and it's basically you have to pay him 100 rupees in order to repay to pay for his fucking roof. And I'm just looking at that. I'm like, oh, they actually put something like that in there. That's pretty funny.
That's good.
And so I obviously I rewind the course because I was not going to pay that old man his money for his roof. I'm like, oh well, fuck your roof. Anyway.
This is how Animal Crossing was born.
But yeah, that was my initial slog of what I had been playing for the past 11 days since our last recording. Holy crap. But there is a new game that I have been playing. I haven't gotten too far into it because I just bought it today. That's Mario Golf Super Rush.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about if you got this or not. I was curious what you had to say.
Honestly, from initial playing of it, it plays fairly well. I played a couple of the 3-hole things and stuff for like initial quick play for solo and stuff with Mario, and also for Wario. I was trying out a little bit of the first part, the career mode thing with your create a character not too long ago, and I played initially about a half an hour of it. So far, so good. It's like that sort of like golf RPG sort of esque thing that kind of reminds me of the old Game Boy Color game way back when and stuff, to where you can actually gain experience. It's definitely has that thing where you have to talk to NPCs, have to go through initial story mode, have to participate in tournaments and stuff to qualify to go in actual tournaments. What kind of pissed me off is that the last hole for like hole 9 of this like 9-hole set, I get a triple bogey and I knock myself out of the fucking tournament.
Oh,
Whereas the NPCs, the computer characters, were all going through and tied an initial extent.
Oh my god.
So
Still.
yeah,
oh, Gables is on something here. Yeah, that's good. I'm glad. I'm glad he's enjoying it so far. Oh, he's back.
yeah. I don't know. It's just basically just someone just telling me a little bit of things, but it's fine. But yeah, I definitely have been enjoying it so far, and I can't wait to share a little bit more next week.
Nice. Yeah, I was gonna ask if you were gonna get it or if you got it yet, because I actually had it pre-ordered up at I paid it all off a while back, um, when I sold my PS4 Pro, my Xbox One X. Uh, I got it. It was one of the games I pre-ordered, and kind of just after the reviews came out, like I think Thursday, and I was just kind of reading through some of them and listening to podcasts, people like long form talks about it, and it just seemed like everything that I guess it's like the thing that we get from Nintendo games where they make really fun, good games to play.
It's a fun game, and they do a great job in explaining different rules and also different, like, the way you can actually approach playing a game of golf, to
Yeah,
where they go into detail in regards to, okay, this is how you do an approach shot, or this is how you putt uphill.
yeah,
You do like about maybe 75% or something like that power, or something if you're going to be going like downhill or during an approach or some other stuff. Yes, they go into detail in regards to helping you feel like you can play the game of golf.
yeah. That's good. Yeah, I'm just my concern is it seems like um, from what I'm hearing is just like kind of a lack of content to play. Um, is and that's kind of like that was kind of like my thing that was like my concern we talked about when they first announced it a few months
Right.
ago, where it's like, like they're really pushing the adventure mode, and I'm like, well, they did the same thing with Mario Tennis, and that adventure mode was awful. The game was totally fun to play, but it just wasn't much to do. There wasn't even like there wasn't really tournaments to do. There wasn't. It was basically online mode and the adventure mode, and that was really. And then if you want to do co-op, maybe I understand. Like their big concern is pushing like couch co-op is like their big thing for them, making a fun game to play with other people. And I get that. Like,
Yes, I
and then
can understand what they're saying exactly, because so far from what I've played, I mean, other than the single player mode and the initial story mode in itself, I mean, there's online. It definitely does lead the like the perception of, yes, there could definitely have been more that could have been put inside of this game. One caveat that I've noticed is they don't have a replay feature for certain birdie shots or certain shots that you do make that was prevalent in, say, the N64 version.
mm,
I would like it if maybe in a future update they were to add stuff like that, because part of the fun is if you make a hole in one, or if you make a good eagle shot or a fantastic ass like eagle shot from like or albatross out of nowhere, that you're able to watch that clip.
yeah, I mean, I get the nice thing is they do have like you can record and take screenshots with the Switch on the Switch, which is nice. But
Well,
yeah, I
that's a good
definitely think they
point.
should
That
just.
definitely is a good point.
But like when you're so excited, like you should like you gotta then you have like literally seconds to remember to hit the button. So I
Yeah.
mean, they should just have that. Yeah, my thing is just like, am I gonna be playing this past 2 weeks? Now it's kind of my concern because like time after time I buy these like Switch games and like it's like I'm not trying to like I hope I know these games are good. And I know these games are like all these games that come out are good and people like them. There's an audience behind them. It's just like it feels like definitely if like you don't have like a set people to play with, it's like there's not much to do out like Arms, Mario Golf or not Mario Golf, Mario Tennis, Splatoon 2, Super Mario Party, all those like I play them and I enjoy them, but then after like I get them on Friday and then the following Sunday, it's like I don't go back to them. I might go back to them once or twice, then just kind of move on. It's like I don't know, like I definitely want to play it, but it's kind of bummed me out a little bit because to hear that like that it has half the courses that the Mario 3DS version launched with.
Oh wow.
Like I think the Mario 3DS one launched with 12, and this one has like I think 5 or 6, and you have to beat the adventure mode because to get to unlock 4 of the 6. Um,
Oh, okay. Yeah, because from the offset you have the rookie course and like another course in and of itself too to play.
yeah,
But yeah, the remaining four you have to unlock with adventure mode. Okay, that makes sense.
yeah. So I mean, It's one of those. It sucks that Nintendo games never go on sale past like maybe you can find them 3 years down the line for $40, uh,
Hmm.
on Black Friday. But because I would definitely be a game like I would be more. Oh fuck! I got GameFly for a month. Maybe I'll just try to see if I can get lucky and get through GameFly.
Well, why not?
I feel like that, like it just seems like the perfect game to like rent for the weekend, and then like if rentals were still a thing, um, yeah, yeah,
That's what I use Game Pass for, and that's basically rentals.
yeah, yeah. Oh fuck, man! I wish Nintendo just had Game Pass for
Oh
like,
no
but
shit.
Nintendo Game Pass that'd be fantastic. I'd save so much money. But yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy you're enjoying it. It's like it definitely seems like a really fun game. It's just my biggest concern coming out of it was content, and then just how that's gonna go.
All right. So that's pretty much what we've been playing in a nutshell. So let's go ahead and get into some quick hitter things before we get
All
on
right.
to initial topics right here. So, in regards to Cyberpunk. So, in regards to Cyberpunk, that actually most recently came back on the PSN not too long ago.
Yeah.
But there is a disclaimer on there, and they actually advise people to preferably play this version on the PS4 Pro or on the PS5. They actually give a disclaimer, hey, you're not going to have the best experience playing on a baseline PS4.
Yeah.
I understand that. I mean, it's kind of weird that they actually go into the caveat and to explain to the customer, do not play it on this system. Please play it on this systems or
Yeah.
these systems right here.
Yeah. I that's I it's based they basically got a 6 month detention. It
Yep.
seems like I think it came back like the 21st. But yeah, it just needs to come back. It was just kind of funny they announced it during E3 and it just kind of got swept under the rug, kind of
Yep.
thing. And yeah, I mean, I like I think it's awesome that they're just saying, hey, play it on. It's like it's best to play on the Pro or PS5. I really appreciate them doing that. And I
Yeah.
think it's only like $40 on there, so that's something too.
Yeah, they actually decreased the price from the initial 60 that it was down to 40. I mean, yeah, that's definitely a better pill to swallow in regards to if you have some interest in it and you have say like a PS4 Pro or a PS5 and you don't have a lot of things that interest in you, that may tempt someone to go and purchase it
Yeah,
if they'd like.
I'm just curious how the Cyberpunk isn't isn't that good of a game, guys. So I mean, I'm just ah yeah. I mean, if this game came out and it was like game of the year, real game of the year contender, when it launched last year, like not even, like on PC, people were coming like I think it'd be more exciting if it coming back for this game come out and it's just like, it's just yeah, it's it's a open world game, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, quintessentially. Hopefully, with the improvements and the eventual next generation versions of it, then it's going to satisfy more people in that regards. My hope is for it to actually go through and entertain the people that have been waiting all this time to have patches or stuff like that going
Yeah,
for it.
you own a physical copy of it on
Yes, I
PS4.
do.
You're like, there's been a bunch of patches. Obviously, you have a PS5 now, so are you
Yes,
considering going back to playing it?
absolutely. Actually, I am considering going back to play it. Just waiting for that right opportunity where I feel like I want to go through and play it. Because the
Nice.
last time I did was during its release time on the PS4 Pro. Obviously, there were plenty of issues going on back
Yeah,
then, but it's almost around that time. Apparently, patch 1.23 improved a lot of heavy things that were going along with it. So, yeah, I've
yeah,
been keeping track of the patch notes and stuff over the past year or so.
yeah,
This definitely is this. I am definitely going to be interested in going through and playing it
yeah.
at
The
some
next, I
point.
guess, the next gen version is supposed to launch in a few months, so
Yep.
we'll see how that goes.
Oh yeah, I'm kind of interested to see how that's going to go. But okay. So in regards to EA, apparently they're teasing a revival of sort, and a lot of people think that they're going to be reviving the Dead Space franchise.
Yeah, it's so it's kind of a weird thing where there's been some teases online from like people like so I don't know. Okay, Jeff Grubb, like the
Yes.
kind of the industry king of like big leaks lately, the last year or so. He recently said on his podcast, the Games Beat the Sides podcast, that he has pretty good idea. He's pretty good about like he's really good at teasing people about shit,
Right.
um, without telling people anything. And he kind of mentioned like EA Play, they got a they got an announcement and it's the big one. It's the one everybody wants. And that led to a lot of speculation. I guess like so there's been a couple people online on Reddit that have been teasing it but haven't really said what it is. Um, so it's like he hasn't clarified that this is the case, um, and it doesn't seem like a lot of other people have. But it seems like there's a lot of smoke to this, you know, to this. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Um,
Right.
and we have but there's like no idea if is it a remaster of the is it like a is it like are they doing the Mass Effect collection like legendary collection type thing where it's the whole trilogy? Are they just
Hmm.
remastering one? Is this a remake or are they just a reboot? Like what is this? Like I hope the guy I've said for years the two biggest remasters I want Mass Effect trilogy, Dead Space trilogy. Really just Dead Space 1 2.
Yep.
Three's a fine game, but it's a bad Dead Space game. Um, but yeah, I would be. I think I'd rather have a trilogy remaster than honestly a remake of Dead Space One. To be honest, just because I think two's better than one. But I don't know. I hope to God this is true, Gables. I so badly just want to play these. I want to play these games again. Even three, as long as they get rid of the bullshit microtransaction shit. Which I mean, they did that with Mass Effect 3, so I could see that
Right.
if this is true, they probably do that with that one. But I don't know, Gibbs, where are you at with the Dead Space?
I'm definitely with you there. As if they are contemplating on doing like a collection of sorts, that's definitely something that would definitely get me interested in playing the Dead Space games on modern systems. Granted, I do have the 360 copies, but at the same time, I am definitely fascinated in regards to initially having that option to where if I want to get, like, say, a PS4 or PS5 version of it and play through the first couple of Dead Space games because I know those games are good. I know people covet them a lot. I'm definitely hoping that this would be the case where Dead Space Collection gets announced or something, or if not, maybe like say a reboot or a remaster, like say a ground for pound, like ground, pound for ground, like remaster of the first game, because that first game in regards to its storytelling from initial parts that I've played and definitely from a lot of the atmospheric tension and stuff could be fantastic on a next generation console like the PS5 or the Series X or
Mm-hmm.
S. It has a lot of good potential. People absolutely love that franchise. So I'm definitely hopeful in regards to Dead Space. And man, if there was a collection, I definitely would love to play that.
Yeah, I mean it's just funny. I was talking about getting GameFly again earlier in the show, and it's funny. Like that's Dead Space is a game I got on GameFly like a couple weeks after it came out. Like I think Justin bought it on a whim or something, and just raved to me about this game. And I'm like, okay, I'll have to check it out. And then like I added it to my GameFly list. I got it. And I played through. I liked it so much. I wanted to support it so bad that I went out and I bought a fucking copy of the game after I beat it, and then played
That's
through a
amazing.
good chunk of it again. Um, so yeah, and I mean, I think it ended up selling. Dead Space One sold over 1 million. I think Dead Space Two sold a couple million, which to EA small potatoes. But then I think Dead Space Three didn't do much better than those. But yeah, I hope, man, this is this is the year of dreams for Tyler right here, man. We had F9 yesterday, which was
Yep.
fan fucking tastic. Gables, let me tell you, fan fucking tastic. Then in a couple weeks we get fucking we got Black Widow, first Marvel movie, MCU movie in 2 years, over 2 years since June of
Yes.
2019. Our first MCU movie. I'm so excited. And then a week after that, Gables, motherfucking Space Jam 2. 25 years later. Bring in Space Jam 2, Gables. We
And
got Mass
speaking of
Effect
Space
collection.
Jam,
Oh yeah, sorry, but it's the year of dreams for Tyler. It's the year of
yeah,
dreams. I'm riding high right now. Knock on wood. Knocking on wood. I can't
no
knock too
doubt,
loud.
man. I mean, hell, a lot of the stuff that you've loved or quintessentially like didn't even think about happening that's possible or something, all of a sudden it's happening all at once.
Yeah.
But
I just need
yeah.
Metal Gear Solid 4 remastered on, and then I'm happy. That's
Oh
all I
my
need.
god. Oh my god, or just maybe do like a one better or something like that. They just have initial like remaster, like collection things released on the current systems. That
Or
would be awesome.
Kojima finishes Metal Gear Solid 5. Oh, that's the ultimate dream.
Like that would actually be pretty hysterical. It's like, hey, we want you to make this. Like, oh god,
Here's
really? No.
chapter 3, guys. Here it is.
It's years later. But anyway, yes, speaking about nostalgia trips, yes, Space Jam 2, the game, was announced this past week. Fairly shocking, honestly. The only way I learned about this was through Instagram because Xbox had their own little update stuff. And what's kind of hilarious about it is not only did they show a little clip of the game in and of itself, but they actually showed special edition controllers as well for
God
the
damn it, I
Xbox.
want it so bad.
Oh, I
I
knew
want
you
it.
wanted so bad. I mean, holy shit. I look at these controllers, man. I'm like, okay, this is definitely something that Tyler's going to want. It's like you got the Tomb Squad and you got the Goon Squad,
Yeah, I
right?
want the Goon
And
Squad one.
man, and then all
I,
of a sudden you have like a separate type of controller stuff. The color schemes look, the color schemes actually look okay in that regard, to my
you shut your
opinion.
fucking mouth.
Dude, dude, it may not be my cup of tea in regards to designs for the controllers and stuff, but at the same time, it's definitely going to appeal to maybe like a more of a younger demographic too. I mean, hell, Space Jam 2 looks like a classic sort of inspired beat 'em up game in of itself. Like I said before, I'm optimistic that this game's going to be fun to play. It's going
Mm.
to be enjoyable. Definitely going to tie into the movie. Honestly, I may not like maybe not like as much as I would like to Space Jam 2, but at the
I will
same
not
time,
allow besmirching a Space Jam on this podcast. That is rule number 1 of this podcast. No besmirching a Space Jam.
I
But
like the
I hope
original.
to God the movie's good.
That's
If it's
just
just
me.
passable, I'll be happy. God. What's weird about the
uh,
Space Jam game though is it's the first ever exclusive Game Pass game.
I know. I don't know how that comes into
Well,
fray
Xbox
unless
is
Microsoft had a chance of developing that game.
Microsoft is essentially developing it. Uh,
Oh, that
so
makes sense.
it's exclusive July 1st on Game Pass for 2 weeks, and then I don't know if it's coming other platforms. I don't think at least PlayStation, but I know it's coming to like the PC side on July 15th. I'm not sure about Switch, but I hope if this has online multiplayer, Gables. Just saying, you and me.
Oh, all of it's free on Game Pass. I'm willing to go forth and try it. I mean,
My expectations for this game are the same as with Space Jam 2. If it's just passable, I'll be happy. I don't need I don't need them to fucking like go crazy or try to like I don't know, Gables.
I'm
I'm
keeping
nerve.
an open mind, and I'm going to be cautiously optimistic, not only of the movie, but of the game in and of itself.
Yeah,
But
I
did you know?
what?
Did you know that there actually was a Space Jam game a
Oh
long
yeah, on
time ago?
PlayStation. Yeah.
Yes.
Did
And
I
I
know? Gables, I had all the McDonald's fucking toys for Space Jam. I made the
the
basketball
little
court
collectible
where they
ones that the
attached
freaking
together.
like
Yes.
attached together in a fucking cart. I remember having
Gables,
some of
fun
those.
fact about Tyler. You want to know his first CD he ever owned? My parents bought me a
Space
CD
Jam.
player for Christmas. They bought me 2 CDs with it. A, the Queen's Greatest Hit album, greatest fucking CD of all time. But most importantly, the Space Jam soundtrack.
Yeah, well, what can I say? That's a great
It's so
soundtrack.
good. It's so you know what? After this trailer came out, I listened to the whole fucking soundtrack again. Still fucking slaps. Daffy Duck fucking roasting people, fantastic.
Oh my god, that's the very last track on that entire album. Yeah,
It's
I
so
know.
good.
'Cause I've listened to that fucking soundtrack over and over for years, even dating back to high school as well. Oh,
30s.
oh my god, dude. Oh my
Ah,
god.
can't wait. July
But
16th.
but at the same time, it's like I'm happy that in this current year and stuff, we're getting different types of like almost like rehashing or like rebooting or even like reintroduction of things from the 90s or of the past. It's been mixed
Yeah,
results here and there, definitely. But at the same time, I'm glad there's more content to consume in regards to Space Jam.
yeah. If this game like my expectations are kind of where I was with Battletoads when it came out last year. Going
Okay.
into it, Like I wasn't expecting to like it. I ended up loving Battletoads. So I don't think I'll end up loving Space Jam the video game, but if it just come out and I enjoy my time with it, I'll be happy.
I'll tell you what, man. I for last year, I definitely enjoyed Battletoads a lot more than I thought I was going to,
Yeah,
and it's good
both
enough
made it
for
a top
me.
10. It was our number 2 overall game of the of 2020. Who would have thought? Battletoads.
Okay, so let's go inside of another main topic. So there's a rumor going around, apparently, inside of not only a PlayStation experience sort of thing potentially happening and then happening in the next couple of weeks, but another rumor tying into this is there's supposed to be, or there may be, a Ghosts of Tsushima spinoff.
Yeah. Speaking of game of the year for 2020, this was our overall game of the year for 2020.
Yes, it was.
Goshima. Yeah, so there is a rumor that it'll be called Ghost of Ikashima, is how I think how you say it.
Ikashima. Okay.
I think I'm probably way off on that. It's a spinoff, and apparently they want to release it in 2021, which is crazy. It'll be cross-platform. Um, Ikashima is a real island, and I guess it's like a what is it? Like I'm looking at. Okay, so Tsushima is 53 and a half square miles. Or no, I'm sorry. Tsushima is 274 square miles.
Hmm.
Ikushima is 53 square miles.
Okay.
So obviously, it's kind of like they're kind of the plan is like from this. Um, I'm not sure. Oh, the rumors from Nick Baker. Um, I don't know who that is, but he runs a website, I guess. But it's kind of it's made the rounds. It's getting picked up by some bigger sites. So this seems like there's a little maybe a little bit of smoke here for this. Someone's rubbing some sticks together at least. They're creating friction. Um, but there's just kind of some talk that, and hopefully it'll come out this year. But there's not too much other than that. And I think the plan is gonna be like a prequel. No idea if Jin will be back for this one or not. But that's kind of all we know about it right now. But I mean, it just kind of makes sense. I mean, I don't know if this. I think it makes sense that we're getting a Ghost spin-off game. You just kind of see what we've gotten lately with them, with PlayStation games, where you look at Uncharted 4 got Lost Legacy,
Yep.
Spider-Man got Miles Morales. Where like they
Yep.
have these big expensive IPs that they're making, and then they reuse some assets and to make a $40 game. And it's like Uncharted Lost Legacy was literally the DLC that like it was like a $30 DLC that's supposed to be broken up into 3 parts, and the game became so big and way more expansive than they thought that they just turned into its own side game. Um, and then obviously Miles Morales happened, which both of those games are fantastic. So I loved Ghost of Tsushima. I think it was like 6th on my list last year. I think it was it was a little bit higher in yours. I can't remember the number exactly. So I
Yes.
don't. I'm all for it. I don't know. I mean, like I said, it's two twigs being rubbed together right now as far as maybe how real this is, but I'm all for it. I think it'd be great.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean, I'm definitely fascinated in regards to if this PlayStation experience happened and stuff. If we get like this whole like expansion quintessentially of like a Ghost of Tsushima and having more things to not only explore but to go through and see tie into like the main character in that regards, like maybe if it's like a side character or the exploration stuff, it's kind of interesting in that retrospect. I know personally I have not finished the original Ghost of Tsushima. It's definitely been on the backlog of things I need to go back and finish, but I'm hopeful that this exists and that it not only comes out this year, but it possibly maybe like a $40 title or a 30 or
Yeah,
$40 title. You know?
probably like 50. Like Miles Morales was 50, and now that game's for $10 more. I think it'll probably be in that range.
Yeah,
But I mean, yeah, I'm all for it. Like I beat Ghost of Tsushima. I really enjoyed it. And I keep getting the Jones like to go back and like finish all the camps because that
yeah,
was a ton of fun to do.
that was fun. Yeah.
And then doing the one-on-one battles was a fucking blast, but just never really
Oh
got around
man,
to it.
some of the best feelings inside that game in general was to approach a squad of samurai just going through right there, and just basically like, you know what? Take out your sword. I'm gonna kick your ass, and just go through and just slice and dice
Mm.
all of those freaking like soldiers and stuff like that. That that got done burning out a bunch of villages and all this other shit and stuff, and all of a sudden you just go through with like an honor mode and stuff and just take out all the ones for honor and shit. It
Yeah,
it felt so good just to do that shit.
yeah, yeah. It was awesome. Yeah, I'd rather sooner rather than later. I'm fine with.
Okay, so for one of our final topics right here, apparently there has been some chaos for Blue Box Games.
Yeah. So I sent this link to Gables like last week, and it's just like I was like, I was burnt out on gaming news, but this was like the exception to the rule, where
Okay,
not so much like it's a Kojima thing. So obviously Kojima's he's my god. So I was like, oh, all in. And this is kind of going back here. So back in April, Blue Box Studios announced a game called Abandoned. They gave us like a little teaser trailer of a guy
right,
just kind of walking through the woods. It looked like looked really good as far as like graphically, but there wasn't really anything. It's just a guy walked through the woods, um, and it led to like a lot of like, oh, that looks like kind of reminded people of PT. It's like, is this? And then people started jumping to Kojima, and then people
right,
looking at Blue Box Studios. Uh, people were looking at their Twitter account, and like it hadn't been active in like 5 years.
right,
Um, and so it's just been like this whole thing. So then there's like, uh, kind of came up, and then it kind of died off after like a week or two. We talked about it initially,
yes,
and then it kind of went away. And then a couple weeks ago, a little bit after E3, so about a week ago, they put out a tweet saying, kind of teasing like about their game and saying abandons like the working title. It's not the actual official title. Um, and they put out tweets like teasing the name of the game, saying it starts with an S and ends with an L. Okay, and people have been saying people the when the original teaser came out for Abandon, it's like, oh, it's Kojima's Silent Hill game, or it's a Silent Hill game, or it's Kojima making a Silent Hill game. It's like whatever. It's just people like jumping around between Silent Hill or Kojima and or both. Um, and that just kind of got the fires. I'm using a lot of smoke and fire and twigs rubbing together thing. This was like a fucking forest fire of like uh, conspiracy theories. People like reading into this. People were like going back and like watching old videos of like Kojima and finding like things that kind of like lined up. It's like 9/11 conspiracy theory levels going
oh
on here.
boy,
People are like at 43 seconds in this video here, you can see this, and it kind of teases this. The main like developer of this, like the Turkish, if you like Google translated his name and Turkish language, I think is what it was. It actually was because it was Hideo. So it's just fucking nuts. And then like no one's seen this person before. And then he finally came out and he like showed his face and did a video. Like, I'm a real person. I exist. I'm a real developer. This is not a Silent Hill game. This is not Kojima's not related to us. We are not working with Konami. This is not a Silent Hill game. And then like said all that. They've been disputing it from the get go. And then like a picture of him and Kojima together came out like right after, like a couple
oh
days, like a couple
no,
hours later. It's like they can't get away from it, and it's fucking. It gets crazy. It's just getting deeper. Like there's a rabbit hole to get into, and I got into that rabbit hole for a little while there, and I dug myself back out. It just gotten crazier and
rabbit
crazier.
hole.
Yeah, it's a very deep rabbit hole. I was hundreds of feet deep, uh, but I got out. It's so basically what they said was on Tuesday, and this is kind of where like more shit was coming from. And it's
Right,
like Jason Schreier, actually, I want to jump back here. Even was put like did this like whole like thread on Twitter about like he's like the last 4 hours I spent deep diving into this. And he's like, at first I was like, there's no way this is a Kojima game, or this is there's no way this is a Kojima game, a Silent Hill game, or both. There's just no way. And then he did like a 4 hour deep. He said he spent 4 hours deep diving in this. He's like, and now I'm not sure. So,
oh my
and then
god,
and then he even like came out like a few days ago. He did an interview with someone. I can't remember if it's the lead developer or someone from the studio. He's like, I sat down and I spoke to someone for an hour from the studio. He's like, and I still don't know if it's a Kojima game or not, or if it's a Silent Hill game or not. It's just like it's
this
fucking
is
nuts.
interesting.
Yeah. So they've been like doing all these tactics to like get people away from believing it. But then they do this like they kind of like at the same time they're kind of fanning the flames of like doing the whole it starts with an S ends with an L thing, and then like kind of people are leaning into it a little bit. So they announced on Tuesday this last week there's gonna be an app on the PS5, and then to like no one really, they didn't really explain it, but like there's gonna be an app on there that's gonna do something, and there's gonna be a trailer to officially reveal what the game is and what the name is and what the game is. And then no idea what the app is gonna do. And then like Monday they announced they're delaying it till Friday. Um,
Okay.
and so they even had a countdown and everything going. Like they put up a countdown. I don't know. I think it was on their website. And for when they're gonna everything the app was gonna be downloadable and the trailer was gonna come out. The clock struck zero, and then
Nothing.
popped up a video of that lead guy that's Turkish. That name translate to Hideo. Popped up saying they're delaying the fucking reveal till August.
Oh, that's one way to stir the nest even further. I love the mind games they're playing. This is definitely something. This is
I don't.
definitely something big if they are stirring up people's emotions and getting it hyped up for something. This got to be hopefully a big payoff at the end of this.
So this is a PS5 exclusive game. PlayStation's paying a lot of money, presumably it's for this game.
Hmm.
I feel like at this point, if it's not a Hideo Kojima game or a Silent Hill game or both, PlayStation's got to be fucking pissed. And I, I'm not. I do not. I am saying this right now. I do not harass developers. No one does death threats. All that. It's fucking stupid. That's been happening. The last couple weeks now. Like people going crazy. But I will say this: the PR for this what's going on,
Yeah.
and the lead people that have been fanning these flames and doing all this shit, delaying the fucking app 3 days and then doing a countdown to delay the fucking app for another 6 weeks to 2 months. They deserve a little bit of shit. Like
Yeah, I
I'm
would
not saying
agree.
death threats, no, but like, hey, fuck you. At this point, they deserve a little bit of something. And if it especially comes out in August, and if it's assuming it does come out in August, or if like fuck it, who knows? Tomorrow they might just announce, hey, this is what it is. Who fucking knows at this point? But if it comes out and this has nothing, this game better be fucking fantastic, or to eventually pay this off. But these guys are gonna eat plates and plates of shit until that game comes out. And if that game
Oh
comes
yeah.
out and it's not it's mediocre, or if it's just
Oh,
even
if it's
just
something
kind
completely
of good.
opposite, it's going to fucking piss everybody off, and it's gonna be hilariously bad PR on
Yeah.
PlayStation's part.
I don't want anything. I want all games to be good. Obviously, I hope this game is good. I hope to God that this is a Kojima game, and I honestly do. But a part of me also kind of hopes it's not a Kojima game, just to see how the fuck this turns out. I don't know. It just feels like right now there's a no lose situation for me as far as
Oh,
entertainment level goes. Obviously, for the developers and PR, that's not a no lose situation. Um, but I mean, obviously, in the end, I'd rather it be a Kojima thing or than not. But yeah, it's what the fuck is happening? And it kind of ties in more right now where Konami was supposed to be at E3 and then had to pull
they
out
backed
a
out.
couple weeks in advance. And then this shit's going on. And then there's already the rumors of it being a Silent Hill game. And then the original music creator for Silent Hills, who worked with fuck the the Medium, he did the